welcome to Almost 30 Podcast.
Hi, everyone. It's Lindsey and Krista, your
Hello.
girls in all things health, wellness, spirituality, and God.
Yeah. And nervous system regulation.
Whatever the trendy hashtag is right now, just call us your girls for it.
and what else is like a trend now?
Matcha over coffee.
Ugh, matcha's gross. It's dirt. It's so gross.
I could get with an iced matcha sometimes.
I
But I'm
fake
just
liked
kinda
it for a
like,
little bit. I think I just liked it in sweetened nut milks.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
With ice cream at the
Yeah,
bottom.
it was honestly, yeah, exactly. It was actually boba tea. I
Dude,
wanted
what
this
is
little,
up with boba?
I've never had it.
Neither have I.
It's like little tapioca balls. It doesn't seem-
People die for it. Like people travel far for it. Maybe it's a New York thing.
People in New York do weird stuff. When I was in New York recently, I was like, I could not believe how many treats there were on every corner. Like I went out, we were like, let's get something. And it was like 50 million treat options that we were like, we could get froyo, we could get croissants, we could get macaroons, we could get like vegan keto
Gelato.
cupcakes. Like it was like, we could get this cookie, we could get this. I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
I don't know how those places stay in business. I'm
I
like,
don't-
do people like treats that much?
I don't know either.
I get pizza places, like people love a slice.
Mhm. I do
grab
the
and
math on
go.
that stuff way too often.
It's crazy.
I think at least once a week I'm doing the math on some business.
usually money laundering is happening.
For sure. But I'm like, all right, $9 an order. You have 90 people come in today. That's $1,800. 1,800 times 30 is, a little under 60K. It's under 60K. So
A month.
yeah, right?
Okay.
1,800 a day times 30 days in the month, 60.
And you're probably, but the thing I think about is rent.
Yeah, rent's 10. Staff
At
is
least.
15.
It's kooky.
Utensils
that
are
stresses me
3K.
out.
I know, honestly, I just dude.
It's a lot.
I know.
Brick and mortar spaces
Brick
are
and
a whole
mortar
vibe.
spaces.
Anyway, on that note.
Speaking of that, I wanted to surprise you with my business acumen. So Lindsey and I have been doing the podcast in Almost 30 for 10 years now. We started in 2016, OGs in the space. And, I had a call yesterday on Intro, which is an app where you can connect with people and pay them for their time and their expertise. And there was this girl that I was working with on launching her podcast. And we were talking about her launch strategy and what she's going to do marketing wise, how she's going to grow the show. And she was asking a few questions related to the process and business, like about an LLC and trademarking and things like that. And I was thinking about our process of building Almost 30 and all the right decisions we made and all the wrong ones that we made and how much we've learned. And I think it'd be really supportive for people and even us to process and have a conversation about the things that we've learned in business over these past 10 years, especially as female business owners, as people that have never been entrepreneurs before. I didn't have an entrepreneur in my family. Did you have an entrepreneur in your family? Didn't see anyone as an entrepreneur in our family. Didn't go to school for it. Didn't grow up around it. And in an industry that we kind of made up along the way, in podcasting, there wasn't a lot of podcasts, if any, that I saw during the time in 2016 that were building a brand and business quite like ours. That was more like courses heavy, like digital marketing heavy, retreats, community. Like we kind of really did things on our own and followed our own path. And I think for people in 2026 and beyond are really looking for more purpose-filled businesses, wanting to be entrepreneurs, wanting to build something with meaning and purpose. Would love to impart some wisdom and some, things that we've done wrong and things that we've done right, just in support of your process.
Yeah. Shall we begin?
Let's do it.
Okay. So the first one that came to mind, and this came up for us, I feel like very early on in our business life, was that, and it's a big one, your inner world will be reflected back to you in your business. And I think a lot of times we think that we can just separate the two and we can numb out or ignore or just push to the side the things that might be happening internally on a personal level. And really focus rather on your business and building it and just getting that set, and then you'll handle the rest. But the reality is that, that's not true. And that if you are passionate and putting all of yourself into the business, you are going to have experiences in your business and experiences reflected back to you that show some opportunities for growth and learning. You will be triggered. Um, you will see a mirror of maybe the mental disorganization show up in the disorganization of your business. It's a really fascinating thing to notice when it's happening, not make too much meaning out of it, but rather use it as an opportunity and to redirect and actually focuses on what's happening within you, because it will eventually show up as, you know, let's call it solved or smoothed out in the business. And I think for us, there were so many things happening, but I'll speak personally where I had a lot of insecurity around just being a business owner and starting a business and being an entrepreneur. I never saw that for myself, even though being an actress and pursuing that life for so long, you are kind of your own entrepreneur in a lot of ways. But I didn't see it as such. I saw myself as like starving artist, like I'm a creative, like I don't focus on the business side of things. And so that insecurity was really showing up in our relationship, where my ability to be a business partner, to be, a collaborator on this was hindered by that insecurity, by the self-talk of you've never done this before, you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to be good enough, Krista's offering more value, like why are you even here? And it caused a lot of problems between us for a bit that we really had to look at. And I think in our work with our coach back then and in our individual therapy, I was really able to understand one, where that was coming from within me, and understand that I did bring a lot to what we were doing. And like, of course I did, because like, why would this incredible, expansive idea come through us if I didn't? It's not just if it was meant to just come through you, it would have, right? So I really had to like redirect that judgmental energy of myself and shed more light on like, no, I am bringing a very unique creative perspective and experience from my past and a lot of things to the table, just like you are in different ways. Um, so if you are, doing the work, as they say, just know that you must continue as you are building your business. Think of it as part of the investment in your business. Therapy once every 2 weeks, making part of that session, an opportunity to really look at, hey, what's happening in my business that might also be connected to what I'm feeling internally. I think it's an incredible investment. Maybe you can even write it off. I don't know. But I think that anytime that you and I have come to a place in the business where we're like, yo, why is this happening? Why is this challenge coming up? We've gotten so good at being like, what about this is a match to us and what's going on internally or what's going on between us or what have you. So I think that's a big one that might feel a little bit overwhelming if you're starting a business because you just want to like do all the technical and clerical things and business things, sure. But don't forget about your mental health, your emotional health, and what's happening with them.
And I think this podcast is especially for people that are on a spiritual path and on a growth path, where you will have a life where what you need to heal is reflected back to you. So if you're living consciously, it's not like, you will have, if your relationships will be your spiritual practice, your business will be your entire life is your spiritual practice, and your business will be a part of that. And especially if your business is a business rooted in service, if your business is a business rooted in helping other people, you will be called to a different level of refinement and a different level of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what we were often called to. And I think something you said that was interesting was when you were an actress and you were like, the business stuff isn't me, like that's not a part of my process. And I think for a lot of women I've seen over the years in working with women and even in myself and my life, I think so often that sort of mentality comes as a self-sabotage.
Totally.
And I did that a lot with my own personal business in the past couple years, where I've been like, it's kind of like lifestyle business, or like, I'm going to figure that out later. Like, I don't need to figure that out. It's like, no, like treat your business, like have your own inner masculine of treating your business like a business, putting in the structures, the plans in place, being mindful about money coming in, money going out, where it's going. Like part of being an entrepreneur is marrying the healthy masculine and the healthy feminine of your creativity, of your expression, of your voice, of your nurturance, but also having that frame of like, no, I have enough of something to love myself enough to create a system or a foundation for this. And I think for a lot of business owners, they don't really, they want to just be in the branding, the marketing. I want to create an aesthetic and a visual Pinterest and Instagram and create this, world and all of these things. And I've seen that happen a lot where they'll create the vision and the aesthetic and have the slogan and the marketing, but they don't have anything living within it. So it's like just this empty box.
There's no execution.
There's no
There's no
execution.
grounding.
There's
Yeah.
no grounding. There's no actual tangible thing that this is in the brand. So I wanted to kind of bring that in the room. I think the second thing that I'll say is just to piggyback on what you said too about some of the issues we had at the beginning where you felt like you weren't enough and you were struggling. And I felt like no one would ever support me and I couldn't trust anybody and all of these things. An important thing that you and I did early on, and that I continue to do with myself because I could be even better, is knowing who you are and what your skills and abilities are. If you know who you are and what your skills and abilities are, your job and your career will be so much easier. I am not ever going to be in a spreadsheet. I will never update a spreadsheet in my life. I will never be in the small minutia details, fine tunement, da 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 da. I am high level. I am strategic. I can be in the weeds logically, but not typing or doing anything like that. So I know that about myself. So delegating becomes easy. I know this about myself. I'm not going to fight myself. I'm not going to tell myself to be different. I'm not going to make myself sit in front of Excel for 16 hours as punishment. I'm just going to delegate what I know I'm not good at. And you understanding that like here, okay, what is here that I could be better at with business? What is my opportunity for growth? Having more confidence, learning certain skills, but then also knowing like you're not going to be someone that does X, Y, and Z. Maybe that's a skill that I have within our business. Like you've been instrumental in a lot of the communication and the employee relationship stuff because you've led a lot of conversations from a more grounded and regulated place because you have that skill mastered. For me, it was a lot harder for me to like communicate in a way with our employees early on that was like kind and progressive. It wasn't like I was ever mean, but there was just a better way of being. And so I think what I've learned about myself in business over the years is what I'm really, really good at is seeing the bigger picture, is seeing the vision, is listening to my intuition, is figuring out what is the unique offering that I can provide through my experience and then giving it to people. But there's other things I'm not good at. I'm not as good at sales as I'd like to be. I'm not as good at the systems as I could be or the operations. And so what I do with that is get curious about what I actually want to learn. And then what I want to delegate. What is something that I actually want to learn? And what do I want to delegate? And not making it a story about me being bad or good or not knowing something or being unable to hold something in the business. But I think when people can use human design and astrology and even, Enneagram or the Myers-Briggs to understand themselves and their skills and then use those as your superpower and delegate the rest, you're going to save so much time and money.
I think delegating was a huge shift
Totally.
in the trajectory of our business, where we felt like we had to be in it in order for it to be perfect and move forward and progress. And I think what we realized, just to add to that, is there are people who are way more talented at things and also are worthwhile investments. I think, in the life of almost 30 thus far, we've had many, including like a Chloe Leonard, who was our first employee, who, we really invested in her. She kind of found a part of her talent that she wanted to nurture, and then she created her own business out of that. And I just think like unexpected things can happen when you invest in people in that way and really trust people to take on parts of the business. They have a confidence around it. Then they bring ideas that you would have never thought of. It's just a really beautiful process that teaches you a lot about building a business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can we talk about aging for a second? You know, I love to talk about this. I feel like in your 30s and 40s, you start noticing little things. Sleep isn't as deep, or energy isn't as consistent, maybe just some changes in your physical appearance, and you're like, wait, is this just how it goes right now? Healthy aging is something I care deeply, deeply about. I think ever since becoming a parent, I'm like, I want to feel as good as possible for as long as possible. And I've spent a lot of time trying to get ahead of it instead of reacting to it. That's why I am so excited about C15 from Fatty 15. It's the first emerging essential fatty acid to be discovered in more than 90 years. It was actually discovered by co-founder Dr. Stephanie Van Watson while working with the U.S. Navy to improve the health of older dolphins. That's right, dolphins, which is really incredible. Based on over 100 studies, we now know that C15 strengthens our cells and helps slow aging at the cellular level. This is what I'm interested in. Let's get to the cellular level of everything. When our cells don't have enough C15, they can become fragile and age faster, and as many as 1 in 3 people may have lower levels. So I've been taking Fatty 15 consistently, and I love that it feels like I'm supporting my long-term health in a foundational way. It's vegan-friendly, 100% pure C15, and even comes in a gorgeous reusable glass jar. Fatty 15 is on a mission to optimize your C15 levels to help support your long-term health and wellness, especially as you age. You can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/almost30 and using the code almost30 at checkout. Again, that's fatty15.com/almost30. Use the code almost30 at checkout. When I think about pregnancy prep, there's already so much to hold. Physically, emotionally, mentally, all of it. And honestly, I don't want supplements to be another thing I'm stressing about. That's why in my first pregnancy, I really trusted Ritual. Their essential prenatal feels very intentional and well thought out, from the ingredients to how it's designed. And I like knowing it's clinically backed and made with traceable ingredients like choline, folate, and omega-3 without unnecessary extras. I've also really appreciated the experience of taking it. It's hard to take pills in pregnancy, especially in that first trimester. The capsule's designed to be gentle, and it's one of the few prenatals I've tried that feels easy to incorporate into my routine, especially during those sensitive seasons. It has like a citrus essence that really makes it easy to take. And Ritual focuses on bioavailable nutrients and thoughtful delivery, including a delayed release capsule designed to dissolve in small intestines. That attention to detail really matters to me, and I appreciate. So don't settle for less than evidence-based support. Save 25% off your first month at ritual.com/almost30. That's ritual.com/almost30 for 25% off your first month. I think the third thing that we've learned is I think it's really important to get either a failure or a no every single week.
Mm-hmm.
And what
You
that
will anyways.
Yeah.
Like-
But I think having that as like a metric or something that you're tracking is important, because I think early on you can be defeated by no's and feel like, oh, then is this just a sign I shouldn't be doing this? But it's actually should be something you're striving for. And what I mean by that is, are you, in our case, you know, we were pitching guests to come on, we were pitching sponsors. Like, were we pitching enough to get no's and also some yeses? Like, there should be that output that will get you a few no's in a week and also get you used to no's and failure. And I also think that, you know, there were a lot of lessons in the failures for us. So, you know, we've always been a brand that is like not afraid to create things when we're feeling inspired to create them. Like, we did a merch line, which was so much fun. I wouldn't say it was a smashing success, but it was, I think, really fun to make. We were inspired to do it at a very particular time. We involved our friends in the photo shoot and a friend who helped design it. And we were really conscious about the sourcing of everything. And it was just a process that I think we learned a lot doing. But it wasn't a success monetarily speaking.
I don't think it was true for us either. I think we made it true as best we can, but I don't think for me, I've ever wanted to do clothing.
I think it was it felt like something almost 30 would do. I just think at a point I was like, whoa, this is a lot of work for like what?
Dude, honestly.
I'm like, we were kind of pushing it when I think at a
Honestly.
point we kind of, we could have been like, let's leave this idea. But, you know, just in the life and DNA of almost 30, that's part of who we are. So it's like having those experiences of experimenting, of taking risks, of doing something and failing and like being okay after it is an experience of a business within a business life that I think you should have on a regular basis, so long as it's not draining you of all your funds, so that you're learning things and you're, you know, kind of refining. Okay, then if we're not merch, like if merch isn't our thing, then okay, let's redirect and kind of get closer to a thing that feels like us. But I just think reaching or having the goal of like, yeah, let's check our no's every week. How many no's did we get this week? Why? Oh, because we pitched 20 guests. We had dope pitches to 20 dope guests and we got, you know, 10 no's and 5 maybes and 5 yeses. Great.
Yeah.
Let's keep that going.
I love that. I even would say, I didn't even remember checking a lot of no's. And even with the book writing process, like I didn't look at anyone that said no to our pitch, anyone that said no to our thing, because that stuff just sends me. And it's like, it's not helpful. Like always I ask, I'm like, is this helpful? Like, is it truly helpful for you to know who said no? Maybe at some point it is because it helps you update your pitch. Maybe at some point it is because then it helps you figure out to reach out to different people. But for my psyche, sometimes I'm like, it doesn't help for me to get into the details. It just helps for me to keep moving.
Sure.
Sorry, keep it moving, like getting used to the no's. But I think that stops so many entrepreneurs.
Well, that's what I mean is that like early on, we were on the front lines of getting the no's.
Yeah.
But like during the book process, we had our agent in between kind of like filtering that. We knew there were no's, but we were like, okay, show us the yeses.
Yeah.
But
so
when you're an
true.
early entrepreneur, you're going to be on the front lines of getting those no's. And so
Totally.
just getting your nervous system kind of acclimated to like, that's normal. It's all good.
Yeah.
Keep it moving is what I
I
mean.
love the Kabbalah phrase, what a pleasure. And you know, you can add that to like whenever you get to know, like, oh, what a pleasure. Like this, I always say this can only be good. And I think that maybe another Kabbalah phrase or not, but I always say that. I had that the other day where I heard something that I was like bummed me out. I was like, oh, this can only be good. I forgot. Like there's no way this situation can only be good for me. So there's no way that this situation can not only be good for me. And so I think having that is really key. So I love that. Getting comfortable with the no's and the failures of things is really going to be absolutely huge. I think one of the things that I personally really resonate with is you don't need to network. I remember I saw this meme the other day that I sent to my friend Devi, and it was like, I remember being young and finding out what networking was and realizing that wasn't for me. And I just could not relate more. Like in our space, it is so networky. It's so connection based. It's so who you know. It's so who you're friends with. It's so who you're not. But I've never been someone that could ever spend more than an hour with someone I didn't love or was obsessed with. And I feel like letting go of this pressure that I felt of like, I need to network. I need to be at things. I need to be meeting people. I need to be leveraging this opportunity and this client and this person and this thing. It's like, that is just not going to be true for me. And that is not going to be true for us. And you do not need to be like at everything, doing everything, being nice to everyone, being friends with everyone, being best friends with everyone to succeed.
Yes.
You need to have an amazing brand, amazing business that people want the product of, and like just fuck with the people that fuck with you. Like you do not need to be trying and over indexing with people all over the world to have them like you, because I think that energy is just wasted. And I think in the end, for me, it's an integrity thing of like, we only have so much time. We need to spend it where makes sense for our hearts, not just like our business.
Yeah. I think you need to know yourself. Some people thrive off of networking.
No.
Can be just little butterflies in any room and they are lit up. And I'm feel the same as you do, where I don't know, I just automatically feel like it's a little bit forced and a little bit staged in the way that like, this doesn't feel natural.
Yeah.
And I'd rather just be in a natural environment and have it come up that like I do this thing and maybe we have some alignment and it feels really organic, which can happen too. And I think can be, for some people, their way of networking is just like being out in the world. It doesn't need to be at marketing events or networking events or anything like that. It can just be like being more social and like having it come up organically and like just seeing how that benefits you. Maybe you have meet a mentor, maybe, whatever it is. But I totally agree with you. I think it's become its own industry, networking.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And it's become like people's brands and, I know who you are. If it's something that lights you up and you're like, oh, that sounds so fun, go do it. If it doesn't, I think there are better uses of your time and energy.
I also think the energy sometimes is like scarcity. It's like, I have to use your audience and you use mine. And then we do this together and we do this together. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, just focus on what you need to do. Work on your business, work on your life. Like, just work on, just like who you like and don't who you don't, and just continue on with your life. And don't, I think you can get a lot of benefit from networking for sure, but I also think you can waste a lot of time.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
So you don't need to network.
You don't need to network.
Be mean to everybody. Just be a bitch.
Just live in a hole.
Yeah, live in
work
a
on your
fucking
business,
hole,
okay?
honestly, and work on your business.
I think the fifth thing that we've learned is around just don't be afraid to be the first. We feel like we've been the first.
Podcast of all time.
First podcast of all time. But talking about a lot of topics. I feel like we really were one of the first podcasts to go in person, meet our audience, go on tour, have in-person events. I think when we started podcasting, it was so much about just like you're behind a mic in a studio. It's very intimate, which is great. But we stepped out from behind the mic and really wanted to meet our community. And I think that made all the difference in terms of our growth. And so I feel like when you're really tuned in to your business and idea and allowing the ideas to come forward and not scare you or anything like that, there are going to be some ideas and things you want to do that you're like, that doesn't feel like in our sense, like the podcast standard, the lane of the podcasting. Like, people are going to think I'm weird. It's not going to work. No one's going to get it. But it's actually those things that make you stand out. And also those things that like bring you on an adventure like you never thought you would be on and teach you so much. Like us going on tour, no one really asked us to go on tour back in 2017, 18. We had our community who I think would love to meet us, but like no one was like, can you go on a world tour? Like, we just decided to go on a world tour. And I think it was a total risk. And I think we were one of the first of our type of podcast to do that. But I think it paid off. We didn't make a ton of money from tour, but it absolutely paid off in terms of like, people saw that we were doing that, and it was so cool and interesting and like such an adventure that people wanted to be along for, that I think it put us on the map when just kind of doing the status quo would not have. So I think, just our ability to not overthink ideas that would come to us that felt a little bit outside the box, but really made us stand out because we were one of the first to do it.
Yeah, and I think when you're the first to do something, whatever it is, you're doing it differently. There's not really a blueprint. There's not a roadmap. For some people, that can be really challenging to not have a guide or an expander or inspiration. But I think for us, it was helpful because then I didn't compare myself to everybody.
Yeah.
I really loved doing our own thing because I would have maybe gotten into the fall of comparison.
Yeah,
where I'd been like, oh my God, they have this. Okay. And to that point, be mindful of inspiration. Be mindful when inspiration is no longer serving you and inspiring you. And now it's gone down the path of comparison where you feel less than. Inspiration should leave you feeling excited to create what is unique to you, not excited to copy someone else and then, feel like you're never getting it right because it wasn't meant for your soul anyways. Yeah. So I think the going first thing was just doing it messy, taking a risk, and doing what felt really true for us.
Yeah. And I think that's what's hard about creating today, this is generally speaking, because not everyone experiences this, but like we're on social media and we're like, okay, let's do that trend that everyone's doing because it's
Mhm.
trendy, fine. Or let's do, like the way she's doing it, that format, let's recreate that, but for
Mhm.
our thing. And so we're kind of losing the really organic coming from within us type of creativity and like working that muscle. So I guess it's a reminder just for anyone and for me too, where it's like, can we create enough space and nothingness to actually let those ideas that are true to us and come from us to come through rather than just being, quote, inspired by what other people are doing and then just recreating what they're doing.
Totally. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, one of my goals for 2026 was to actually train consistently. It's hard as a mom, but I'm doing it. I'm committed. That means I'm lifting heavy and trying to build as much muscle as possible. Just, getting healthy. But honestly, the hardest part about this for me has been getting the right amount of protein to support my workouts. It's very important that you are having enough protein as you are trying to build muscle. With everything I have going on, I need my nutrition to be simple, even like mindless. So that's where Kachava has been so important, so huge for me. It's basically my go-to all-in-one shake when I don't have time to really overthink meals. 2 scoops has 25 grams of plant-based protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, adaptogens, and it actually tastes amazing. I love the chocolate mint right now. I also love the chocolate. I blend it with frozen banana and almond butter, matcha with iced coffee. It just depends on the time of day, and I love it so much. It supports my energy, digestion, strength, all the things I need to stay consistent and keep putting on muscle. And I love that it's non-GMO, no soy, no animal products, no gluten, no artificial flavors or sweeteners, just real ingredients, and it tastes amazing. So stick with your wellness goals. Go to kachava.com and use code almost30 for 15% off. That's Kachava, KACHAVA.com. The code is almost30. Revolve is honestly my go-to for everything. I'm wearing all Revolve today. We can go through it in a minute. Everyday outfits, date nights, weddings, even those I want to feel more put together days, I go to Revolve. Now that 2026 is officially here, I've been doing a little wardrobe reset, and Revolve makes it super easy. I love their curated edits and the recommended for you section. It actually helps me find pieces that fit my vibe without endless scrolling. I don't like to be on there forever. And I've been loving brands like Lovers and Friends, A. Goldie, and Amanda Uprichard lately, and everything just feels like very high quality and effortless. I'm obsessed. So between inclusive sizing, new arrivals daily, and fast 2-day shipping, it's the best. With easy returns, it's truly a no-brainer. Whether it's a weekend away, a big night out, or just a much-needed wardrobe refresh, your dream wardrobe is just one click away. I hope you're watching on YouTube. You will see my full Revolve look. The theme is brown. We have an incredible sweater, these swishy pants, and some Nike. These are Dunks? They're cool, right? They're brown. I love them. Head to revolve.com/A30pod, shop my edit, and take 15% off your first order with code A30POD, A30pod. Fast 2-day shipping, easy returns, the easiest of all time. It's literally the only place you need to shop from. That's revolve.com/A30pod to shop our favorites and get 15% off your first order with code A30pod. Offer available for a limited time, so happy shopping.
I think another one is balancing the masculine and feminine in business and balancing within yourself the masculine, the inner masculine, and then the inner feminine. And I think for us at the beginning, we were very much in the masculine of building, of structure, of foundation, of form,
Mm-hmm.
of growth, of hustle, of push. So we were very much in a healthy masculine in some ways where we would build a lot of structure in our business. Like our business has actually had a lot of structure comparatively to other podcasts and things like that. But then we were in the unhealthy masculine because we were pushing and overworking and just doing the most, especially when we were working full-time jobs. And then I think as we've gone along, we've really been able to soften and be much more in a creative feminine place. And I think when people are building businesses, especially new entrepreneurs, really push themselves into an unhealthy masculine where they're just doing the most and they're pushing and they're working all the time and they're just suffering. And I think when you can have that healthy inner masculine of actually truly treating your business like a business, honoring the money coming in and out, honoring the structure, honoring the form, honoring the processes, honoring the ritual. And then you can also have that container for the feminine of your creativity, of your service, of your light, of your expression. And I think I probably would have found a balance earlier if I could have, but I think we were on our own path. And I don't think I didn't know what I didn't know. So I didn't really kind of have an understanding of it. But being able to be in touch with yourself on how you can leverage both of those is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as an example, we were on a phone call months ago and it was with this company, and this guy was just kind of a little patronizing, kind of rude. And it was just like a moment where my inner masculine came in and I was just very clear, very direct, very concise, just straight to the point of like owning the conversation to get where we needed to go. And I think it was good that I had that masculine within me that can really hold that. And then there's been moments where we've had to be with team, or we'd have to be with our creativity and be in our more feminine, receptive, creative mode within ourselves. And both are required for the businesses that are going to be in the new paradigm. Both are required for the businesses that every single one of the women here that's listening are going to be building. And they're just essential to have that balance. You don't just need the masculine. You don't just need the feminine. You need to find both within your business. And now that we've found a balance, I feel like we've felt so much better.
Yeah, and not being afraid to oscillate,
Yeah,
to have those
totally.
moments of masculinity and
Totally.
like really holding that structure and those boundaries, et cetera, and then being able to shift into the feminine. I think sometimes I would have that like self-conscious feeling about, especially with our team back in the day, where it's like, okay, how can we go from like business, serious,
know,
whatever,
dude.
to like, how are you doing? Like
Yeah.
your work at the retreat that you were doing, like, how are you integrating? You know, it's
Totally.
like, it's because I don't want them to perceive me in a certain
Oh
way,
my God, totally. And that was so much of like,
but you have to own it.
I think that was like, that's a struggle about being a public figure. Is I'm like, I'm talking about nervous system regulation, work, the process, healing, all of that. And then going to the team and being like, I have to hold myself to the standard of who
I know.
what I'm talking about. And thank God I don't act perfect on the show. And so it's not like I'm like, I'm amazing and I'm perfect. Pretty honest, but like, it's almost like you have to be the result of the work
Sure.
all the time, especially when you have a team. Yeah. Team is
Yeah,
a
I think
whole
we've done a
thing.
pretty good job, but yeah, that's been like a part of the process of like not wanting to tiptoe around like a team
Totally.
and like not show the hard moments, or like, sometimes you can just have a day where you're like, I don't want to like put on a face and like
For
ask everyone,
sure.
what they're high, low, and grateful for today. Let's
Totally.
just get to business. Like, can
That's
we just
my
can we just get
number
to it?
one essential.
So not being afraid to kind of like have that balance and flow and feel like you're one way 1 minute
Yeah.
and it's okay. You can own that.
Totally. Yeah. Being able to oscillate within your business between those two polarities is great.
I think the next thing we've learned is really remembering your why and your origins, because that can absolutely, your why can evolve and be added to and expand. But what happened, I think, with us was we started out, you and I, in our closets talking about whatever the fuck,
Mhm.
like what was going on in our lives, like the high, the lows, the hilariousness, the challenges, and it was what brought people to Almost 30. It was relatable. People felt like, wow, I'm not alone. These girls are going through it too. Like, this is so real. Um, and I think, and this benefited Almost 30, our next evolution, but bringing on guests kind of became the thing. And we kind of took, I wouldn't say a backseat, but
I
kind
do.
of.
I do. Mhm.
We took a backseat and really put on incredible people who we love and respect and have learned so much from. But it became less about our dynamic
Mm.
and like how we started. And so it just became something different. I wouldn't say it hurt us. I just think it became something different to where there was a point that we were wondering why we're like, I wonder why it's not feeling like, the audience is like really giving us what they gave us in the beginning of like
Mm-hmm.
always talking to us, like engaging with us. They're amazing always, but something just felt a little
Mm-hmm.
different. It's almost like we felt distant, right? And I think, bringing back more solo episodes,
Mm-hmm.
both of us individually, and just like coming back to like us
Mm-hmm.
was really important. So, remembering why you started, what was the true,
Mm-hmm.
like, heart centered reason why you started the thing you're starting? And again, it's not that it can't evolve, but see if where you are now can be reconnected to that North Star in a way that makes things maybe clearer, more successful, more in flow, because there was a reason
Yeah.
why that why
Yeah.
began this thing.
Yeah. I think too, that's a good point. I think the point of the energetics around that too. So earlier on was just us, and then we had other guests on. And the reason why it wasn't as like it didn't feel the same is because the energetics behind it was these guests are better than us. They're more successful than us. They're more educated than
Right.
us. So if the energetics is like these fucking are amazing, they're amazing, add to us. Come add to this. But I think we kind of assumed the position that they have something that we don't have, and expertise and education, et cetera. And a lot of them did. But it's like, I think when you can look at the energetics of why you're doing what you're doing, I think,
Mm-hmm.
that can be really, really huge. Something that was so apparent for me, early on in the business with working with managers and agents and our team, other people's team, guests, etc., is how important communication is and how important staying regulated in your nervous system and being able to communicate the thing to whoever is so incredibly important. And I found that the most important when we would have conversations with team, and that meant being able to communicate effectively, thoroughly, clearly, with love, with curiosity. And the success of your team is usually dependent on you and your standards and the expectations that you set. And so much of that is all communication skills of being able to finesse the right conversation, the right experience, the right outcome, coming into a session with an employee and being like, hey, like, I'm curious, like, how are you feeling about this project? Like, what's going on? Like, what are you noticing? Rather than like, this isn't on time. This isn't working. Something's wrong, et
Yeah.
cetera. And with the first scenario that I shared, it's like you get such a better response. That's someone more willing, more able, more open. With the second one, you get people that shut down. And so much of your ability to be an amazing business person, entrepreneur, et cetera, is your ability to communicate, to say things, to communicate your brand, to communicate who you are, what you do, your story, et cetera. And I think as we've improved our communication skills, it's gotten easier in business, it's gotten more fun, and it's gotten so much more effective and less stressful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think was the turning point in terms of like our ability to do that? I'm trying to think
I remember one,
about.
I remember one employee that we had to let go of, and I just remember struggling so much with like this feeling of like her anxiety, her overwhelm, her stress, and then feeling like I was so stressed and so overwhelmed and all of this, and just really losing myself in the sauce of this psychic debris that we had, and not being able to come out and just be like, hey babe, like, how are you doing? Like, I'm noticing that you feel, I'm noticing you feel overwhelmed. Does that feel true? And sort of allowing the energy of what I was tuning into be what decided how I would act instead of
Mm-hmm.
me leading,
Mm-hmm.
of like, oh, okay, psychic debris is happening. Great. Now what? Call it out. Ask a question. Get curious. Maybe you're reading it wrong. Maybe you're not. And I think now it's just always like going first and being a leader in like hey, how are you doing? Hey, what's going on here? Like, never
Mm.
feeling like you have to be victim to any energy dynamics or experiences. You can always ask a question. You can always get clarity. You can always get curious about things.
Yes. Yeah, I think the questions are so powerful in those scenarios because I think as a leader, sometimes you feel like you need to just bring down the hammer and be like, okay, this isn't working. Like have the kind of action plan, but then that immediately shuts off the other person. They become either defensive or totally leave their body. And we mostly work with women on our teams. We've had men on our teams which have been a lovely balance. But you know, there's a psychic conversation happening sometimes. There's a beautiful sensitivity. And so to ask questions, I think is very heart opening and from the heart rather than, accusatory and all of that. And I do think that we've had better results when we've been able to be direct in our conversations as well. So it's like, yes, asking
Totally.
questions, but also just
Cut to the
chase and projects that you've been working on like this, I've noticed a pattern of, being late. And I want to support you and getting these things in on time. Is there a way that I can support you? And can you tell me more about why you're late? But just cutting to it, because I do think the other person can feel when you're kind of beating around the bush. And sometimes it's actually a relief to just get to the heart of the issue.
That's why a lot of times when people get fired in the corporate world, they just get on the phone. They're like, hey, it's your last day.
Yeah.
We're complete. HR's on the phone. Leave your laptop. Leave your desk. We're just... There's enough here. Well, I think the long rigmarole is insecurity and feeling like I'm bad for telling you this feedback. That's all of it. I'm bad. There's something wrong with me. I've done something wrong. And even communication for like business partners, business owners, partnerships, like you need to be able to communicate your value. This is almost 30. We serve these type of women. This is what we have to offer. So whenever I work with business owners and entrepreneurs, I think one of the first things that I do is have them figure out their story. Like, who are you and why are you uniquely qualified to steward this? My name is Krista, and I grew up feeling like I was never heard, feeling like I had to ask questions to get connection, and being curious was just my through line for life. And so that led me to many things in life, but eventually to start a podcast where I'm curious and I ask questions all day. And so it's like, what is like about you can you communicate as your story that people can remember you by and people can really land on you being the steward for what you do?
100%. And I think something that we've learned over the years, I think we've done a decent job at, depending on what it is.
Decent.
But I think it's really so important to celebrate your wins. I know it's kind of corny, but like there will always be the next thing that you're striving for. Always, always, always. But take yourself to Fiji. Celebrate.
We did.
We did.
That was actually a huge W. So I don't know if we were working full time during that time, but we were maybe ending it. It was like 2019. So I think
we weren't working
full time.
No, we were full time in almost 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like it was our world
First full
tour,
year.
First full year. And I'd always had the dream as a little girl in Ohio to go to Fiji. It was always like on billboards. It was like Fiji. I don't know. Fiji was a thing. And so when we were coming back from Australia, I was like, we should go to Fiji. And we just bought ourselves this 5-star. I think it was like $10,000, this like $10,000 trip. And I just was like, this is fucking living.
Yeah, it was like very celebratory of like the year on tour that we've had, the full year of being full time with the business. Like,
you know what memory I have from it?
What?
It was the weirdest memory ever because it unlocked something in me that I was like, this is a dormant part of my psyche. So we were it was 6 senses in Fiji, and they had a hot cold plunge, and they had the hot and cold, and we were in the hot sauna, and there was...
no, wasn't it like, sorry to interrupt, was it outside was hot and then the cold sauna?
We were in the hot tub.
We
were in the hot tub.
Okay,
and there was this bird that was around, and this bird, and we were like, we had been together for 6 days at this point, so we were like bored as shit of each other. And so we were just like sitting there like in silence, I don't know, and there was this bird that was like limping, and he had this like little limp. And he was like walking around limping. And you're like, wow, I wonder what's wrong with that little bird. And I was just like, he's probably faking it.
Wow.
And you were like, who hurt you? What the fuck is wrong with you? And I was like, what the hell? Like, that is how bad I realized in that moment.
Probably faking it.
He's like a bird on an island in the middle of the ocean is faking an injury for us for some odd reason, for some performance. And I just realized in that moment how deep my trust issues were.
Yeah.
That I felt like that creature was faking it for me. And I was like, this is deeper than I thought.
I'm unwell.
I'm unwell. I was like, whoa, like this is hurt. But
oh my gosh.
so celebrating your wins, it doesn't need to be a trip to Fiji. I think that's a big example. But I think another example could be having a celebratory dinner or lunch with your friends. When our book came out, I brought my friends together and we did a celebratory lunch. It means taking the night off. It could mean a bath. It could mean sending yourself flowers. It could mean just telling people.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times people don't tell people about their wins. So you don't know about your friends' wins. You don't know what's going on. So just celebrating yourself actually provides your brain an opportunity to land in your new reality and to land in the win and to somatically and energetically experience what it feels like to have good things happen. So I think celebrating the wins is good. I think the last for me is allowing your life and your dream to evolve. And I think for so many people, we can come in hot into entrepreneurship and purpose work and be like, I'm going to be, an Akashic Records reader that like goes on boats and like does mermaid interpretation, or like, I'm going to create this one thing and do this one thing. It's like most of the time you will come into entrepreneurship with one idea and one thing, and it will evolve and change. And you have to be willing to have that happen. I wanted to be a SoulCycle instructor. I wanted to be a blogger. I wanted to do a bunch of different things in the business. We've done merch. We've done courses, programs, coaching, retreats. We've done so many different things. Some have worked, some haven't. And you just may not have one vehicle for your purpose that exists and is the thing you land on immediately. And you need to be open and flexible to how your service manifests and how it happens. And that also means being able to let go and move on from things when it's time. And letting go during a letting go season, not holding on to what you do not need to, is also very important. And so I think our dream has evolved. Who we are has evolved. I think what we want has evolved. I think we've been able to ride the waves of the evolution, but I think it's been essential in business to really be like, okay, cool. Now people want video. Okay, cool. Now people want to meet in person. Okay. Now they want to help to start a podcast. Now they want this. We've been adjusting to the audience, but also willing to try new things and not allowing just ourselves and our business to stay stagnant, because we do not. So why would our business?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's our brand, to help support people in their evolution.
Totally.
And so if our business didn't reflect that, it would be super silly.
Totally.
But I think it's also exciting for the people in the community and people watching and following along, like to see someone try something new, to change,
Totally.
to like step into a new era of their brand or what they're doing with their business. It really feels exciting, So don't forget that piece of it, because I know it can be a lot to kind of, undertake something so new and like almost like a new venture. But there is the energy of people being like, oh, this is awesome. I want to see what you do next, have that fuel you too.
Yeah. And it's crazy to think it's been 10 years. It's crazy. It's crazy to also think that I was like in the corporate world, and I thought I would like be in the corporate world for a while. Like I was a bad corporate girl. I was a personality hire if there ever was one.
But I think, that's like what you grew up seeing. And so it's like what you thought was possible.
For sure. And it was essential
yes,
for my life. I'm so grateful for it.
100%.
It's a great place to be if you're not me.
If God would have like laid out for you kind of like the trajectory of Almost 30 and like all the things we needed to go through and blah, 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 would you at the beginning, would you have still signed up?
Oh, yeah. I think there's one thing that I regret. That one manager that we met with, that we didn't sign with. That one situation. There was one situation where I regret it. I think I was led by fear and my belief that no one cared about me or no one actually genuinely wanted to support me. And so I think we said no to an opportunity that I still think would have been really good. What's your regret?
Regrets?
I think that's been my only regret in life.
No, I feel like,
Some of those photo shoots.
yeah, for sure. For sure.
I'd say some of those photo shoots.
Our mob wives photo shoot?
Oh my God, dude.
Probably that one.
Dude, that was the height of my dumpling.
I think
in my dumpling era.
not a regret, but I think that, okay, this is one. I think there could have been more strategy in the early days with brands because we were meeting and working with some of the world's biggest brands now.
Mm-hmm.
And so in their early days, could we have invested?
Smart.
Could we have gotten equity? Could we
Oh
have
my God, so smart,
collaborated with them in a way that was like,
bro,
would pay us dividends and support them as well? Whereas we were just going ad spot by ad spot.
So smart.
Sean always slaps me on the wrist for that. He's like, why didn't you?
Oh, dude, that is so genius. So yeah, that's a good last thing. It's like thinking not just in the short term. And that was a scarcity mindset. Short term, we need money. We want to quit our jobs. It's like, what is the long-term payout we could have got? Multi-millions of dollars if we would have gotten equity in some of these companies. That is so real and so true. That is such a good one. Yes?
I got a question.
Yeah.
We have a question from the audience.
Question from the audience.
Please.
I'd be curious to hear you talk about, like, because you're both, I don't want to say alphas, but you're both like two talented people heading this. Do you want to talk about like your relationship? Does like
how did two alphas play together in the bullpen? In the bullpen.
How did two bulls run a business?
How did two butches
How
just
did two butch dykes run a business? Dude, that's so crazy. You know what's so crazy is I'm so in my own experience that when someone tells me I'm an alpha, I'm like, what? And then I'm like, oh yeah, like every room I'm in, like, what's going on over here? I'm like, what are we doing? Like, how do we both, as business owners, as two alphas?
There's two like super like talented people too. Like, did you ever deal with like jealousy? I already know the answer, but like Krista doesn't want Lindsay to like gain more fame, for example.
No, I don't think I ever. Do you feel like that? I don't think we ever wanted. I don't think we ever didn't want each other to not succeed. But I definitely think it's hard to have yourself compared to someone all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like it's almost like a sibling. If you have a sibling, you know, you're like a sister, like my sister. She was the skinny one. I was the chubby one. She was the smart one. I was the hot one. For like 2 years. And, you know, like I was the slut. She was like the, you know what I mean? Like she was the slut. You know, whatever. But like we were just always compared. And so I think when you have two women, you kind of are put in categories of like who you represent or who you are. Like people would sometimes say to us like, oh yeah, I resonate with you, Lindsay, or I resonate with you, Krista, or like, oh my God, your story. And like, you know, I'm like you, or you were like, you know, so I think that happened quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, I think.
Yeah, totally.
But I think because we had the broader overarching umbrella of Almost 30, it kept us in the same place no matter what, because we were both building the same thing rather than like comparison to each other. But I think for one thing we're really good at is knowing when to take a lead and knowing when to step back. And I don't think we've ever fought for the lead or we've ever fought for like airtime or anything like that. Like we pretty early on figured out where we could be, when to step in and when to not. And I think that was like psychically, to be honest.
Totally. Over time, we've kind of perfected that type of dynamic.
Yeah. I think in any relationship, even a romantic relationship, you kind of figure out your dynamics with that. Like, okay, we're at this dinner party. Like, is this like their type of vibe where they're going to be in the lead and like talking and telling stories? Is this mine? Or
yes. And you also have to feel that. So like there might be days where I'm feeling a little like off and not really leaning in to like my best showing on the show. And so that kind of forces you to like really lean in.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So it's like, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just we've become really good at that. And so I think sometimes that can be felt.
Communicate. Like sometimes I'm like, you know me, I'm like, I got my yearly laser that burns off my face. And so I'm like, hey, I can't be on camera. Can you lead?
Yeah.
And you'll like lead. So we're also very communicative about that.
But yeah, I think, I mean, we've talked about this a lot on the show. Like our relationship really has determined the health of our business as well. And so if you are in business with someone, just like the first thing that I shared in this episode, it's like you have to be tending to that relationship. You can't just be like, well, we'll figure it out after. We got to get this business off the ground. Like it is directly related to that. So, we've done a lot of work. We've worked with coaches, therapists. We've really committed to the health of our relationship and understanding what needs to be tended to and growth opportunities. And it's been worth it. I think our business has thrived because of it. And also just like we feel better as people in the business because we have this like compassion and understanding for one another and respect for one another and ability to communicate. And there's no like psychic debris kind of getting in the way.
I don't think I have any friends that aren't alphas.
I don't know if I consider myself an alpha, but I feel like I have a side of me that is alpha.
I think I'm more
relate
alpha
to the
than
word.
you.
Yeah, you are. But I also think when I'm around alphas, I tend to go like this. Do you know
I
what
agree
mean?
with that statement.
So, because I don't like to fight for attention in a room, if that makes sense. But that's also not, like, sometimes that hasn't benefited me, so it's like, I think I can learn something from being more alpha, but yeah, it depends on the dynamic. It depends on who I'm with, like, which is hilarious. I don't know what that says about me, but
I know, honestly.
I'm like, I'm a shapeshifter.
Yeah,
I
honestly, I'm
morph.
actually invisible until I'm formed by your opinions. I'm invisible till formed by you. Anything else?
Anything else, John?
Kind of going back to like your guys' dynamic. Obviously, it's like communication, but like, was there ever a situation where there was like a sponsor or something that like Krista was stoked on? It was like a good,
like disagreements in
deal,
business.
and Lindsay's like, I'm not sure, like, I don't know if it kind of goes back into that category of like two people are the head of this company. One person feels
It happens
like often I say, but like where we've learned. So in terms of, our dynamic and how we approach
decisions,
differing opinions, and deciding who kind of takes the lead. It's like we've learned to understand. We've learned to trust one another's intuition. And if I feel like you're very clear and passionate, then I trust. Even if I disagree, I like trust the clarity and groundedness with which you are feeling about something. And I think vice versa as well. So yeah, there have been many things I think we disagree on.
And even like business moves and business decisions, I think I've always felt like it's her right to exist and decide things in the business in addition to me. Like where you've had like, there was like something with someone that you did and I'm like, that's not my favorite thing. And I'll tell you after it's nothing, but it's like, I was like, that's not my favorite thing and I wouldn't do that. But you have a right to have an experience and to have an opinion in the business too. And it's not just about what I'm doing or what I want for the business. And I think for sponsors too, I think you are more strict with standards. And so I kind of have deferred to you. But I think issues come when you feel scarce and issues come, it's kind of like a marriage, it's like you and I versus the problem. It's never like, I'm going to be like, I'm obsessed with this brand. I'm prioritizing this brand deal over my relationship with Lindsay. I'm always going to be like, yeah, what matters more? Our dynamic or this brand deal or this thing. And so that
but
always.
I also think with those like brand deal decisions too, it's like, I think I can be very in the moment, like, no, I don't like this about it, but I don't leave time or space, which I need to, emotional authority, to be able to kind of like move through like, wait, what was my like initial reaction about? Maybe I like knew someone who used it and I didn't like that person. I don't know, whatever it was. And I think you helped to bring the perspective of like, well, it could be good because then we could talk about this. And this is true for me. And like,
Just trying to make that dollar work, baby.
yeah.
Just trying to well, I'm like,
I think for me, it's always hard because I'm just like, I want it
This is
to
the
be
thing about
so
Manscaped.
true.
So I know it's for men and it's for men's balls, but have you ever had nose hair?
Yeah.
We could also use it for our nose hair.
Have you ever used it on yourself down there?
Yeah,
It's all good.
literally. We did a whole collab with like where we like talked about Manscaped with our nose hair. It's all good. Gotta get creative
And
with
it
the
worked.
dollar.
So it's like, I've learned to kind of be a bit more flexible and creative in those moments rather than like, no, like this is a hard no.
I'm obsessed with this quote. I thought this is a quote that's popular, but I've been thinking about it a lot lately. Do you want to be right or do you want to be in a relationship? I'm like, I would rather be in relationship than like be like getting a brand deal that I'm like, this is,
Yeah.
like, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
whatever.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's been a huge part of it. But I'm excited to see where y'all take your businesses this year, where y'all take your purpose and what you're here to do and everything like that. And it's going to be really beautiful to see what you make and what you create. I'm actually doing a mastermind and I'm being dead serious. And like, that sounds like I'm joking, called Seen and Heard for business owners and entrepreneurs. So you can DM me about that. It's going to start in Malibu in April, and it's for 12 women that want to build their business and their brand and want to be seen and heard. So you can DM me about the mastermind if you feel the call to build your business and your entrepreneurship this year. I'm excited.
It's going to be amazing. And I think those experiences are so important to invest in.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it
that was huge.
It speaks to your business. It sends a message that says, you are important to me, you are a focus, and I'm going to invest in this. And it's a reflection of like where you are sending your resources and energy, and trusting that will also bring back a lot of abundance. So I think it's such a powerful move when you start to invest in things
Oh
like
my
that,
God.
whether it's a coach or a mastermind or retreat or whatever it is. It's really a really powerful thing. I remember when we did that with our coach, and it was like, well, this is a pretty penny every single month, but it was
Worth every penny.
right.
That work and community and accountability is worth every penny. If you don't have a plan of how you're going to support yourself as a business owner, you need to get a plan. I remember our coach asked us that at the beginning of a year one year. He's like, what is your plan for support? If you are like an athlete that is like a world-class athlete, how are you supporting yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? And it's like, if you are high class, the best at what you do, how are you supporting yourself in community, with a coach, with whoever? And it's essential. So we love you guys so much. Thanks for rocking with us these past 10 years. It means so much. It's been just a beauty to be a part of our lives and be in our community. We love you so much. Almost30.com for all the partnerships, resources. If you want help, you can find it there. And then Almost 30 Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. You can find me on Instagram at It's Krista.
I'm at Lindsey Simsick.
And we'll see you soon. We love you. Bye.
Bye.